Hello, welcome back to my journey of becoming a professional trumpet player. Um, You're starting off pretty busy. Had some concerts last weekend, have concerts this weekend. Have some good news already as far as success goes. My chamber group has made it to the semifinal round of the International Trumpet Guild chamber music competition, which was really awesome to hear and kind of reassuring that I'm still going on the right path and this is what I want to do, of course. So that was some really good news to get, and I'll have to be revisiting all that because we recorded that, oh my gosh, back in like November or something. So I'll have to revisit all that music and get it down again, and I'll probably make a video about that. But there are more pressing matters right now. So just wanted to focus on some things I've been thinking about, and then preparing for this upcoming concert this weekend. So one thing I've been thinking about right now is my volume in my upper register, which never really have had to think about until recently. I've been on a bit of a mouthpiece safari or extravaganza, whatever you want to call it, and I don't know if it's quite done yet, but I've definitely solidified one that feels good and sounds good, but there is always a cost, and the cost is my upper register is noticeably thinner and not as fluid or as powerful when it needs to be, and maybe even airy at times, which is really concerning, but not usually like that. So, I just wanted to focus on that and try and figure out what to do. I had two different lessons this week, and the big focus was just how to attack this issue. And both of my instructors said that I'm just not giving it enough. I mean, that makes sense, right? Maybe I was relying on my mouthpiece to project the sound more or something. But I also am sensing that there's probably some tension, mental tension mostly, when I'm playing up in the upper register, or some unfamiliarity. Maybe I'm just not doing it enough. But I am noticing that I'm not noticing straining or my lips hurting, of course, which is would be a big issue if I was. But anyways, here's some things I'm doing to kind of focus on that, because you need to have a strong upper register as a trumpet player, and it needs to be loud. One way to do it is crescendos, decrescendos. This was the first thing. Just doing a little bit of that, trying to figure out where your volume sits, I guess, where my volume sits, and there's kind of a place to lock in with volume on the trumpet, right? When you really want to project, you don't want to work against your instrument, so you want to find that sweet spot that gives you that brilliance and response, and you're not forcing the sound, because it'll sound like you're forcing it. So let me try and find that again, just on that tuning note. That's a pretty forceful sound. Of course, you can get louder than that. And then you hear it starts to distort and double buzz. That's not what I want. I want a nice focus sound, so finding where that sits. And that's a pretty good volume, I think. But let me just try that up an octave and see how loud I can get. Yeah, so I feel like my upper register, the dynamics range, both soft and loud, is smaller than my middle or low register. Like, I can't get nearly as quiet and I can't get nearly as loud. So what I think that just means is I need to play more high notes. I play a decent amount, but I'm not a lead player. I'm not playing high notes every day, and I'm certainly not playing anything higher than a high F or F to G, right? So I'm not even like really trying to get up there either. So Clark 2 is a great way to like kind of practice that I'm noticing, just taking it up an octave. So if I do the F1, I was doing that earlier today, and I was noticing just how bad it was. Just like right now, it's like, wow, it's super. I don't know. I'm getting a little backed up, and it's like the pitch is super wobbly, and I'm missing partials right and left. And if I do that just down an octave, it sounds fine and completely relaxed, right? So, I guess I just need to get mentally and physically more used to playing high and just being like, this is comfortable, this isn't hard, because it's not, it shouldn't be, but I'm making it hard, so. That was a little better. Yeah, still not quite as fluid, and that was the other thing I was talking about last week was fluid, or whenever I recorded that video. So, it just needs more work. One other thing, fundamentally, so high notes, right? But the other thing is I noticed one of my instructors knows that I am pulsing my neck when I'm attacking a little bit, and or sometimes a lot of it, and it's not necessarily desired. I'm also pushing with my diaphragm on every attack sometimes in exercises or like staccato passages. So I've been thinking right now of keeping my diaphragm firm and not moving it, keeping it in the primed position and not like relaxing it, and then keeping my airstream, not stopping my airstream, and then just attacking through there. Here's an exercise I did a while ago that I've been working on a lot, so it's a lot faster now. You can see kind of the progress, and that's the Arbins, page 126, number 2. So this is a good example of just like, this is where my pulsing would happen, and it might show up on camera, so this would be good to check and see what it looks like after I've really been trying to fix it. So. It would help if I started on the right notes. Yeah, and I'll do one a bit higher up. Yeah, just when I'm focusing on this whole diaphragm thing, and it gets in the way of my playing, obviously. So I was missing notes there, and I was focusing on the wrong thing. So it takes some getting used to, I think, but I am more aware of like the pulsing. My instructor and I, we don't necessarily know if it's a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a normal thing or a thing to encourage. So yeah, anyways, those were sort of the fundamental things I'm focusing on, and that helps me lead into the next part, which is this weekend. We just had our last rehearsal for the orchestra concert, and it's we're doing a bunch of concertos for winners of the concerto competition that the school does, and for the ending, a vocalist one with one of the Tchaikovsky operas, Eugene Onegin. I'm not very aware of it, as you can tell, but we're also doing the waltz from it as a finale. And there's some tricky stuff here. Not necessarily tricky passages that are super technical, but things that will trip you up a little bit, even if you're a good player. So some things I'm thinking about here, just looking at the first time the trumpets come in, not cracking, how do we not crack these notes, right? And it's very easy to crack this phrase. So just thinking forward air and not pulsing, connecting what I was just working on and trying to have a good sound. So let me switch. Okay. See, where we go. Let's got to hear the pitch. Yeah, so that E is the note that's going to get cracked, and it got cracked the third time I hit it. So I can't think too low, right? Even though the phrase is down, like thinking straight, because that note is the same every single time. I know it's kind of a no-brainer, but if sometimes, you can be too caught up to really even realize, oh, it's the same note every time. It's the same jump every time. Anyways. Yeah, and then the last note, the low D in the phrase, is hard to tune sometimes, just having that slide out ready, but when you have your first slide out for the A and the E, you have to compensate for that, and yeah, just making sure, listening for that. Anyways, the next phrase, right before D, just have to think super forward motion, super like light and glidey. See there, still feel like I'm a little punchy, and this is one thing I want to fix before tomorrow, is just embracing the fluidity of it a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. I think I'll be practicing a bit more today, just to get it super honed in. Not too much to say until the very end. There's this cool circle of fifths thing that happens, and it's this fun little passage. And right after it, there's this thing marked solo. It's just like a brass solo. It's not really a trumpet solo, but I'm the top voice, so I have to lead the section. And also has to be very fluid and very forward motion. And this is not necessarily very high in the register, but it is higher. So I'm still trying to get a good, strong support there. Yeah, and then it just keeps going and going. Show the music at the bottom of the page. There's just no stops for the last 45 seconds, 30 seconds of it. And, just have to sneak in a breath somewhere, drop a note here and there, just to not pass out. But let's see, starting from that solo. yeah, that's the idea of it. I still feel like I'm a little choppy, and I think I'm just choppy in general as a player, chopping notes up and not thinking super fluid. Um, so yeah, it's still working at all that fluidity stuff I was talking about, and now I'm trying to apply it a bit more. Yeah, let me see if I can nail that first bit again. Yeah. Tricky. Yeah. Just goes to show, guess I have a little more work to do before this weekend, but it's okay. I'm not worried or anything. It's going to be fine, but yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that's my little check-in for this week. Um, you'll hear more from me soon, definitely. Cool. See you around.